Hey guys, we are going to learn how to take a photo of ourselves and then to alter that photo so that it can be used in the grid method to create a painting or a drawing. So the first thing I want you to do is go to your camera, and I want you to reverse the camera so it's looking at you. Woo, there you are. And then if you want to wear a mask for this self-portrait, you can, but I want you to take a photo of yourself. Make sure you have good lighting, make sure you're happy with the angle, and focus on just from like the shoulders up. If you end up with a little extra, that's fine because it's going to be a square in the end, but try to focus on your face. And there's my photo. So that's what I've got right now. If I'm not happy with that, I can come back to this step later and use a better photo. Now what I'm going to do is get out of photos or camera, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the app called Clips. Clips is a free app that you can download using your school iPad. You can use your phone too if you absolutely need to, like if your iPad's not available. And down here, of course, I can select the photo I just took, and I can use this little rainbow star in the bottom right to add a filter. So I'm going to click that, and you can see there's all kinds of filters at the bottom. We are looking for one that will really change our photo into something more simple that we can use. Mono is a good one, Neor is a good one, but honestly, there's one over here at the beginning called Comic Book Mono, and it reduces the shapes down even more simply. And when you put this filter on your photo, you're going to really get a sense of some of the issues you might run into and what you might want to do differently with your photography. So right now, with me having blonde hair and the background being really bright, it's hard to tell where my hair ends and the background stops. Other than that, I feel like the rest is pretty doable. So if I feel comfortable that I could easily figure that out and define that, then I could move on with this photo, which I will do just to problem solve through that and show you how to do that too. So anyway, if you weren't happy with it, if you felt like, for instance, an entire eyeball disappeared, or you just had some other issue with it, something was too dark or whatever, you could try the photo again. So once you get it altered, again, I recommend the Comic Book Mono. That's going to make it the easiest to draw and paint from here forward. But from there, I would just go ahead and do a screenshot. So I feel like everybody knows how to do that, but I'm going to go ahead and turn my iPad the other direction, do my screenshot with my little camera button on the keyboard, and then I can crop this a little bit just to get rid of some of the extra. If it'll let me. There we go. Okay, that should, when I hit done, save to my camera roll, or save to my photos. Yes, save to photos. Okay, the other piece of the puzzle you need is this grid. This grid is probably something I'm gonna just send you from Echo, and it's something that I've already created so that you don't have to. It's a huge shortcut. It's gonna be hopefully really helpful to you. It has coordinates to help us have discussion about where things should be if I need to redirect you in your work. And basically I want you to save this also to your camera roll, and that way you can use it moving forward. It is a transparent image so that it can be overlapped in the next app. So once you have both of those two things, your edited photo as well as the grid that I created and shared to you, then you get to go to Autodesk Sketchbook. And when you're in Autodesk Sketchbook, you might notice that you have an existing project open. By the way, this is like the end goal. I just had a different photo that I was working with. So if you have an existing project, you don't already know how to do this, you're basically going to use the little menu tab. It looks like a rectangle with 3 lines and 3 dots off to the side. You're going to click that, and you're going to tell it that you want to do a new sketch. You could actually change the width here if you wanted, but I wouldn't get all fancy about it. I would just hit create and save the current one if you have something you want to save. Okay. Once you're in here, what you're going to do is you're going to add an image. So the top on my screen has all these options, including that weird little menu thing I was just using, has like arrows and a paint bucket, a ruler, all kinds of stuff. But what you may not realize is you can slide that, see how I'm moving it left to right, till you see the photo sign. So it's a picture of mountains with a plus sign. I'm gonna click that, and I'm gonna bring in my first image. I don't know what it's doing. I think it's crashing. Maybe I've been messing with it too much. I'm sorry, guys. That was a long build up for not a lot of visual. Let me try that again. I'm gonna open this app. There we go. I'm gonna try that step again. Plus sign on the mountain thing. Okay, good. So here's my photos. I'm gonna select the edited version that I created. Okay, there I am. And just because it's easy enough to do, go ahead and shrink it down just a hair. You don't need to do a lot. Just shrink it down a little bit so you can see the edges and hit done. Okay, now I'm gonna add a layer on top by using the plus sign on the right. And you can see this square is highlighted in blue. That's the one I just added. So this is a layer, kind of like tracing paper, and I'm gonna add another image using that layer. So I'm gonna go back up to the mountain picture with the plus sign, click it, and this time I'm gonna select the grid. Boom, now I got a grid on top of my image, and of course I'm gonna resize it. This is where you actually might think about cropping because you're not gonna draw anything that's outside of your grid. So stretch this, position it, put it where you want your image to be. I don't have anything above my head there, so I'm gonna bring it down pretty tight. And then I could expand it wider, I suppose, but I don't know what I'd be trying to capture. There's nothing really outside of my head on the left or right. So I think that's probably pretty good for me. And of course, once I have that, I'm gonna hit done. And this is essentially the reference that we're after right here. What I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be using this to draw my entire picture out and to define its edges. So from here, there's gonna be more tutorials on just how to use the grid to draw, but some of you have had exposure to this method before, so you may already get the idea. If you feel comfortable with doing this, you can jump right in with a pencil and control the width of it if you'd like, but you could sketch in important information, like where is the edge of my hair? Is it here, is it there? And kind of mess around with that and get that stuff defined. If it bothers you that there's background stuff behind you, you could even, spend a little time with a highlighter blocking out some things, like just denoising the background basically. But this is essentially what I'm after, guys. I want to see this. So if you are done with this step, I would like you to screenshot it. That way I can see your layers on the right and see what you've got going. And you can send that to me in Echo to show me that you're ready to move forward. If you're not familiar with this app, just a fun little tip is the eyeballs on each layer, of course, turns off the visibility of that layer. And it's important, I'm pretty rusty at this myself because I'm new to it, but it's important to go ahead and create new layers as you do new things. So for instance, I wish I would have left my grid as one layer and then my pencil lines as a second or third layer. If you end up with an extra layer somehow, like my box right here, I'm just gonna raise it up and throw it in the trash. As soon as you hold it, it allows you to drag it and drop it into trash. So you can kind of clean things up that way. Anyway, guys, get this far and see how it goes. Send me your results, and if I think it will work, if I don't see any major issues with it, I'll give you the green light, and the next time you get a tutorial from me, it will be on how to move forward. So I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Let me know if you have any questions.